Eggsy. I saw in you what someone once saw in me. Something that can't be taught. The makings of a Kingsman. Being a Kingsman is more than the clothing we wear or the weapons we bear. It's about being willing to sacrifice for the greater good. I hope you're ready for what comes next.
And now the end is near, and so I face the final curtain. My friend, I'll say it clear, I'll state my case, of which I'm certain. For what is a man? What has he got, if not himself? Then he has not. The record shows I took the road and did it my way.
Oh my God. Fuck me.
None of us.
An audience excited for the return of
That
Kingsman.
was
That is amazing.
lovely, guys.
Yeah, it really,
Thank
really
you
was.
very much.
We didn't even know we were going to be in front of an audience until we saw the screen backstage. We were like, oh, shit.
Better get on the A game. That's what I'm talking about. Kingsman, The Golden Circle, you are back. After the first one, which was, I loved the first one. It's so bonkers. It's balls to the wall. Were you afraid that you guys wouldn't be able to sort of maintain that sort of action and that kind of comedy for a sequel? You do, thankfully.
Thank you very much.
Let me save that question.
I guess I have unwavering faith in Matthew Vaughn, and as I'm sure many of you know, Matthew Vaughn has never done a sequel before, and he said, I'm only going to do it if I am sure that we can top it and go to the nth degree and make it even bigger and crazier and more debauched than the first one. And
He backed off the Kick-Ass sequel, right? That's what. Like,
Yeah,
did that one?
he
Yeah.
didn't. I don't exactly know why he didn't do the Kick-Ass sequel, but I know that he's in love with these characters and working with me, and you know, I think he's just this is his brainchild, his baby, and I don't think he's ready to let anybody else get their hands on it.
Were you worried? I mean, Kingsman is arguably your breakout movie. What did you?
Not arguably, it absolutely is. Yeah, definitely.
What did you think when you first saw the script for the sequel?
I mean, I thought it was amazing. One of the things I found most exciting about it was all of these new, incredibly well-drawn, funny, exciting new characters. And then, you know, get to a certain page and a friend from the past turns up again as well, which is very exciting.
Oh, I thought you were going somewhere else with that certain page, but yes, the friend.
Oh
from the
no,
past
I know what that
talking
I know
about.
what that I know what that bit is as well. Then I got to another
It's
page
unfair
and
that
went,
you've
I've
seen
got
the
to
movie
do
and they
what?
haven't.
Sorry?
You guys will have fun with this interview after you see the movie, and you know what that is a reference.
Yeah, we've
to.
just been chatting backstage about one very specific scene in this movie that I was a bit traumatized. But yes.
I have to see.
It's a wild scene.
It's a wild scene, and it's a wild movie. That's what Matthew does.
And one of the things I'm curious about, I mean, going back to the first movie and in this, is these sort of like one-take action numbers that are unbelievable and
Yeah.
beautiful and clearly involve a fair amount of CGI, which doesn't, you know, there's still an insane amount of planning that goes into
Absolutely,
them.
yeah.
And you guys have one in the film. You and Pedro have one in the film.
We do.
Yes. What was it like filming that? What is the planning scenario like when you're filming that?
I mean, there's a huge amount of planning that goes into it. It's the style and the technique that was made famous in the church scene in the first movie, that continuous revolving shot that can go on for as long as you want, but it's like a one-take scene.
Now I know what you're talking about.
Now you know. Yeah.
I was
think
so
they call it-
lost.
yeah.
I was like,
wasn't
well,
sure.
which one?
I wasn't sure if you were lost or you didn't like the question.
I wasn't sure either. But now I know what the question is. It was right.
Yes, but we probably shouldn't say what.
No, we can't.
I mean,
we can't say
without giving that actual scene away, yeah.
Yes. A massive amount of planning. And as you say, a fair amount of CG that goes into creating it. But the end result is pretty amazing, I think. They call it hypercam as well, which I think
Yeah,
sounds
it's called
pretty-
hypercam.
We're doing hypercam today.
So we have to do it fast. So we need to move faster than we normally move. We need to slow it down. It all gets measured to such a science of movement, as if we were athletes, but we really are just stupid actors. Taron's not that dumb. Taron's smart. He is smart. I'm surprised. Because he's also he's good looking as well, and usually they don't go together.
Yeah, good looking and smart usually goes
Right?
together.
I'm just trying to stay on topic.
When you guys get to set and you're doing a hypercam scene, what does that look like? How many days of shooting was? Let's about the church scene. Let's go back to the church scene. How long did it take to film that scene?
I wasn't in that one, if you remember. That was
That was Colin Firth. That was just
Colin.
Oh, I thought that was you and excuse me. I thought it was you and Colin. but no, it was just Colin.
I know that took a good, I think, 3 weeks or something.
It was like
Yeah.
the first 3 weeks on the movie, wasn't it?
That's right, and there is a new hypercam scene in the new movie which uses the same technique, and it took it was months, right?
Yeah, it felt like months.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, yeah, a
It
long
wasn't
time.
months, but it was sort of more spread out, and there were
And there are
intense
other scenes that
sections
happen
of
on that
working it.
set, and-
Exactly, yeah.
It's all
You would like kind of come back to the hypercam and then move on to other stuff.
and
Yeah.
go and do other things in other places. Yeah,
Unbelievable. So you would just be working on this one action sequence off and on for months.
They take forever, and then that doesn't include all of the rehearsal time we do, which quite often we're doing alongside filming. Yeah, it's hard work.
They're so impressive. Poppy, you are essentially a kind of Kingsman-style Bond girl, I think. Is that fair enough to describe?
Yeah, maybe. I think, yes, I would say so. And it's honestly like a dream come true. Obviously, I watched the first Kingsman and fell so in love with it. So when this came up and I had to do the audition, it was literally the day before I started filming. So one day I'm literally in this trailer and I'm reading lines with Taron and, meeting Matthew. And that night I got confirmed for the job. And at 5 a.m. the next day I was on set with hundreds of extras filming a scene at a festival. And it was
the Glastonbury
bonkers.
Festival scene.
It was the Glastonbury
and there's
Festival
a bar in the middle of it with hundreds of extras around this bar where you would serve drinks in this big field, basically. And she's at the center of it, the beautiful blonde Bond Kingsman girl, and it's her first day at work.
Don't quote me.
I was
please.
like, good luck, Poppy. What's your name?
I was literally speechless, at which point I was like, no, I've got to speak. I've got to do this. And I don't know how I got through it. I got through it with these guys. They made me feel very welcome and made it really
on
fun.
her first day, I was going.
Shut up as if no, it wasn't.
What made you so nervous about being on the set? Was it the number of extras, the fact that you're
I
taking
mean, it's
part in
my
a big...
second film ever, the first, second piece of acting I've ever done. So, the whole thing's still very alien to me. I'm just sort of really starting out, being an actor. But also being with these guys that are, extremely talented, have done it, before, know what they're doing. It was like first day at school. I was literally like, where do I go? Who do I talk to? What do I...
You would have been nervous if it was your 100th movie. Anybody would have been. It was just extreme circumstances.
It was.
There was so many people. We were nervous. Taron and I had been on the movie for a couple of months, and it was still like, all these people watching, and we're doing a walking and talking scene, and suddenly it feels like it's all for the first time. Right?
Now, we've talked about the details of the movie in certain sequences, but where are we with the Kingsman in the Golden Circle? We introduced some new characters, right?
Yeah, so it kind of picks up around, I would guess, 6 months after the first one. And I won't tell you how you know it, but you know that Eggsy's completed maybe 3 of his own missions. And basically, Kingsman gets blown up. And I know I'm allowed to say that. Kingsman is obliterated. There's nothing left. And myself and Merlin, Mark Strong's character, basically have to go on a fact-finding mission to figure out what's gone wrong, who's done it, and it leads us to Kentucky, to this distillery where we meet this sister organization that we never knew we had, called the Statesman. And rather than being tailors and running a tailor's shop, they are brewers who have a whiskey distillery and they make Kentucky bourbon. And they're very, very passionate about it. And I guess because I'd imagine there's a little bit more money in whiskey than there is in independent tailoring, they've got some serious tech and some serious skills. And there's an altercation right when we first meet, and I kind of think I've got it covered, and then very quickly establish that I haven't got it covered. Yeah. So it's very exciting. There's a whole new world to explore. And they've got just as distinct a look and style and manner of fighting as the Kingsmen have, and they've got their own gadgets. You know, the lasso you've seen in the trailer, and big, you know, whatever that thing Channing swings around is, that, you know, the big shotgun-y thing. Yeah, whatever it is, I don't care.
What was it like getting Channing Tatum in on this film?
Well, all I will say is do not fight Channing Tatum, whether it be in a real fight or a fake fight, because that guy is strong as an ox. But
Did you fight Channing Tatum, like offset?
Yeah. No, we obviously it's in the trailer. There is a little moment we have with a little bit of a scuffle. But Channing's amazing. Channing was great to work with.
And Pedro, what did you think about getting to join the film and getting to become a statesman?
Well, I was just hoping for a better cast. I think once it all kind of came together.
Yeah, because this cast is like kind of boring. This is like, I don't know.
If you need a reference, you have a list right there, and it's just very unimpressive. But I got over that. I got over it, and I went to work, and it was amazing. It was. I'm not as young as these guys. You know what I mean? So, but then again, I couldn't say anything because Colin took out an entire church full of people in the first movie, right? So I really couldn't make a mention of my lower back pain and stuff like that. So I was you know, in on the ride thanks to who sort of felt like a partner in crime as far as the shooting went for me with Taron, who had been used and abused in the first one. And so all of that experience helped guide my way through the second one, and we had a ball.
Do you guys suffer any injuries doing some of these action sequences?
Yeah.
Yeah, loads.
I know you got your lower back issues.
Yeah.
I was sat on top of that black cab in, I think, the second week, and a crew member came. I was so if you imagine I'm sat on top, I'm going to sort of squat and illustrate here, sort of sat on top of the cab with my hand over the edge of it like that, and a crew member came and slammed the car door on my hands.
Just to close it, to get it out of his way?
But also because these... Yeah. But as with lots of these sort of, you know, trick cars or things that they've kind of changed and adapted, all the rubber had been taken out of the door frame, so they had to really slam it to get it shut, and it shut with my hand in it, and I was
Say something. I feel bad for you and your hand. I feel really bad for that crew.
Do you know what
happened to them?
that poor guy? No, I did have to say, look, dude, it's okay, because he looked like, you know, the world was ending. Oh, and also Ed Holcroft punched me square in the face. Ed Holcroft, who plays Charlie, who's back in this movie and is incredible in it. Yeah, he is incredible in it, but his aim sucks. He punched me square in the face. Yeah.
When you get punched square in the face, does that sort of, you have to get makeup to get rid of any bruising that you might have?
Well, they've used the take in the movie. It's in the movie. Yeah, it's there. My whole face just sort of goes. Yeah.
But at least it was worth it then. It's in the movie.
Debatable.
And Pedro, what kind of injuries did you suffer?
Well, I suffered mostly from something that's not in the movie, but we did shoot it for a long time. I was physically rope tied to a mechanical bull.
Oh yeah.
For about 4 days or something like that, and then Matthew, months after having wrapped on the movie. And I was in Colombia shooting this third season of Narcos on Netflix, streaming now.
Hey, what are we here for right now?
Sorry. Fox is like, you're done. You'll never do a movie with us again. But Matthew.
Good for you, Pedro. Right, man.
Matthew Vaughn called me, and we was just having a chat, and he slips in the fact that the entire bull concept, because I think Colin was on a bull, not as much as I was, is out of the movie. We were having such a lovely chat up until that point, and then he's like, because he had no idea that I'd been diagnosed, I'd had epidurals. Anyway, everything's fine. I'm doing great. But he was like, yeah, no, the bull's not in the movie. And I was like, what?
Gotta go, bye.
He's like, it's not in the movie, it doesn't work, you'll be pleased. you put me on that bull for 4 days, okay? And I just went off on the director, and I was like, can you take it out of the movie? He's like, you're gonna be quiet, you'll like it better. End of story.
And you haven't talked since.
And we haven't spoken since.
Do you like it better though? Are you happier? That
Yeah, no, he's
coming
absolutely
up?
right. He's absolutely right. I'm sure I would have looked ridiculous flailing around on that bull.
The movie just would have been 4 hours longer.
Yeah. I think that's what the real issue is.
Let's get some questions from our audience. Who has a question? Right here.
Hi, I'm Jonah. And what I was just wondering was, what was your favorite, perhaps, like, character trait of the character that you play in the movie?
I like his... I can swear. I think he's a great bullshit artist. So there's a scene in the new movie where I am wearing that very dashing number there, which I highly commend, lovely. Where I'm trying to convince my new girlfriend's parents that I'm worldly and sophisticated and know about politics and economics and things, and I'm actually cheating using my spy skills to give this impression. And in that scene, I think you really see how kind of resourceful he is, and a little unorthodox, but resourceful, and I like that character trait in him.
You do get to play a fair amount of bullshitting in both the previous...
In all my
and this
roles,
one.
really, and just in life in general.
You have I think you have a really great gift for
Bullshit?
kind of con artist
Thank you very
comedy.
much.
I want to see like a Dirty Rotten Scoundrels remake.
Yeah,
of
I'd
some
love that.
kind.
That'd be great, yeah.
Where do you think that comes from?
What, the bullshit? I don't know, just lucky, I guess.
Let's get another question right here.
Hi, I'm a huge fan. I just wanted to ask, I'm someone who really likes to write screenwriting in my free time, and I was wondering, when you guys get a screenplay, what are the first few things you look for, what stands out, and basically how could I get my screenplay made and you guys to star in it?
Send it to me. I'll have a look. I'll get it made at Fox after today's interview.
A Fox Netflix collab.
Exactly. I think that you connect to a script from an actor's point of view. You start reading, and there's something that you connect to, I think, pretty quickly. And that'll keep you reading the rest of it anyway. I guess that's a very boring answer to your question, but usually it's that. You connect to something, either it's your character or the language in which the characters speak and style, because as you know, scripts are so technical. I have a really hard time reading them to this day. Exterior this, interior that, you know what I mean? And so usually it's the personality and the story or through the characters that make it a kind of emotional experience, and that you can connect to, and then you just feel like you trick us into needing to do it.
Taron, do you want to throw Poppy?
Yeah, I completely agree. I think something is just intrigue. For me, I struggle to read. I struggle to get through scripts. My agent's nightmare because have you read that? I'm like, yeah, just thumbing through it now, loving it.
I love what happens on page 34 where the guy says that thing to the girl, and it's amazing. Because I don't really like reading scripts. But I find if there's something that sets up a question, really, mystery or intrigue early on, that's always a good way of engaging. But also, I think just something that has real humanity to it. The Marvel movies are great because of all of their spectacle and wonder, but they're also really great because those characters have real human problems and real kind of things in their lives that need to be resolved. Is that a good answer or is it a crap answer? I don't know. I'm not a screenwriter. I really don't know.
Poppy, you just started acting, so what do you look for?
I've just begun. Yeah, I mean, I actually do love reading scripts, and I think a little bit similar to what Pedro was saying. For me, it is there is an instinct. I like to read it quite quickly the first time and leave it for a little bit. And if I'm still thinking about it, sort of 2 days later, then I like to go back and actually really sit there and devour it and really, get into it. But for me, it's that initial read through. And if it's still in my mind, if I dream about it, if something then I'm like, okay, I'm going to go back to it and really give this my full attention. So yeah, I just think it's some sort of connection there. the first
Very
time through.
instinctual from our end.
Very instinctual.
You do all the work.
Let's get another
Good
question.
luck with that, then.
Hey everyone, I'm Eric. It's great to
Nice
see you
jacket.
guys.
Nice
Thank you very much.
Ooh, yes.
Thank you. Really appreciate it. So I'm a huge fan of the first film, and Kingsman is a very special film because it's original. So what makes you guys want to hop on board to a film, original film, other than something, I'm a huge Star Wars fan and Marvel fan, but what makes you want to hop on to Kingsman rather than Star Wars or Marvel? And part two is there any chance Tom Holland is in part 3 of Kingsman?
Well, I bless you. I think you're presuming that when Kingsman happened, I had the luxury of choice. I mean,
Yeah, right.
yeah. Marvel, Star Wars.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
But, I think in terms of what I'm so proud, the originality of it is what I'm really so proud of, and that's largely down to Matthew Vaughn and the incredible team of, designers, stunt people, especially who he works with, and the wonderful actors he employs. Removing myself from that assessment there. But it's very exciting to be part of something that has a real freshness and originality. But I think that's as much... Actually, I think it still borrows a lot from a genre that we just don't see as much of anymore. But the tone of it is what's incredibly original. I think the irreverence and the anarchy and Matthew's complete desire to piss off as many people as he can.
I think we have time for one more right here.
Hi. So one of the best things about the Kingsman movies, besides the action, are the fancy wardrobe. So probably for this, for the sequel, did you guys get to take some of the suits that you wore home, like in the same way Ryan Reynolds did with Deadpool?
Did you get to take anything?
I didn't have much to take. Sorry about that.
I should have stole some stuff, and I didn't.
You should have stolen your... Oh, yeah. I'm not going to say it. Can I say it?
My whip?
The Alp? Yeah, the whip, baby. The whip.
There was a pair of boots. I had some boots. They were like butter. They were so great, and I didn't think they were cowboy boots, and they were made to my feet.
You didn't take those?
I didn't take them. Can you believe it?
No.
I don't know if they let me. Where's the camera?
I don't own a pair of cowboy boots because I'd imagine it's so hard to find a pair that actually fit well and I feel okay wearing.
These feel better than Nikes. They were incredible. You know what? I'm gonna get them. Yeah. They're in stock somewhere. I'm gonna find them.
What about you? Great suits.
I've this is the wrong time to admit this. I did sort of go through the Kingsman ring I wear. The one that I electrocute Charlie with in the first film. I really shouldn't be confessing to this now. I sort of intermittently kind of stole them. So there was
And has been selling them online.
Because this whole acting thing didn't work out.
Yeah,
talking to my
not many, but a couple. Because I genuinely, it was a selfless act. Because they're quite, oh shit. So they're quite a nice thing to give to like fans who you feel have a real special affection for the film. So I sent one to.
Oh my God.
So I might have. I don't have them anymore, but I might have just taken a couple of those.
Will you be my girlfriend?
Can you define?
Here's this ring.
Taron, can you define special affection for the film?
So, like, I met a family with a young boy at the hotel I was staying at when I was shooting the movie, and he was a real fan. Yeah. I meant like children, not like women I meet at bars.
I also don't know how far that would go with like really beautiful. You want a ring from the?
You want a ring from my last movie? Yeah. So the rings. Yeah.
Let's have a show of hands.
I'm really
who would
glad
that work?
I confessed to that in the film.
Guys, we're gonna end there because I don't think we can get a better story from the movie than that.
Great note to end on.
The Kingsman, The Golden Circle. When can audiences get into theaters and check it out and be blown away?
September 22nd.
22nd.
And the movie's still good.
Friday,
it's amazing.
September 22nd.
Guys, The Kingsman, The Golden Circle.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.